This is rental car number 55, and today I'm driving the 2017 Nissan Sentra SV. This is a compact car. It's a four-door sedan. Under the hood, you get a 1.8 liter four-cylinder engine with Nissan's continuously variable transmission. Kicks out about 124 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 10.8 seconds. Not that fast, but because you don't have all that power, you get some decent gas mileage. You get 29 in the city and 37 on the highway. I think that's pretty good. And you get a 13.2 gallon gas tank. This car does come with keyless entry. That means as long as the key fob is in your pocket, you could walk up to the car, press this little button on the exterior, and the car will unlock for you. Jumping inside, Nissans typically have a pretty nice interior. Let's start with just the steering wheel itself. This is actually a little bit smaller than most of the steering wheels I've encountered in my rentals lately, but it's still a decent size. You have a series of buttons on the steering wheel. Over here on the left, you have some buttons to interact with the center display and the gauge cluster. You also have your volume controls and some additional buttons. On the right-hand side, you have your cruise controls. I don't like that this is a switch. See, you push it up and down. I would much prefer if they were all just standard buttons, but this works fine. Above the steering wheel, you have the gauge cluster. You have two nice sized gauges. On the left, you have your RPMs, and on your right, you have the speedometer. In the center, you have a pretty sizable digital display. It has some nice colors, and there's plenty of options in there for you to sort of check on what's going on with the vehicle. Now, the key fob for this car is Nissan's standard fob. If you look right here, it's an oval shape with 4 buttons on it. There's nothing on the back. Just taking a look at the buttons, you just get lock, unlock. You can open the trunk and then a panic button. I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever used the panic button on any of these remotes. In my opinion, it's kind of wasted space. There is a remote start. It's located right here to the right of the steering wheel. When you start the car up, it might be hard to see in sunlight, but it actually turns a dull sort of red color. To the right of the steering wheel, you get your standard window buttons, your mirror control, and the trunk release are right here to the left of the steering wheel. And you also get buttons to interact with the eco and sport modes and traction control. Your side view mirror is actually kind of a small size. Now, it works fine, but it doesn't have any sort of blind side detection or anything like that. Up top, you do get a sunglass holder with not much padding in there, just kind of a felt lining. Buttons to control the lights, and then you get a standard rear view mirror. And then shifting your gaze a little bit downward, let's take a look at the center console. Your hazard light is right here on top. You get a very small screen. This is not a touch screen, but it does have dedicated buttons on the left and the right side. If you'll see, I can sort of pause and unpause my podcast. It makes you press actual physical buttons down here. In my opinion, the volume control is a little bit small. It's kind of hard to reach while you're driving, but thankfully you do have volume controls right here on the steering wheel. Underneath are the climate controls. I like that these have big buttons for all the different settings, and these dials on the left and right side do kind of turn pretty nicely. My only complaint with these is that to tell where the setting is, you only get this small white line, and when it's dark outside, this can be kind of hard to see. There's also no digital display for the temperature in the vehicle. It does not appear on the touchscreen anywhere, so you just have to sort of guess as to what temperature you're setting the vehicle. The gear shift on this car it's actually kind of smooth. It might not sound smooth, but it shifts through those gears pretty easily. And you also get a DC power port right here, and then kind of a nice size storage area right here. Let's see, it kind of fits my cell phone, but not great. You do get another storage area right here, a little further back from the gear shift, that fits my cell phone pretty well. I would note that there's no ports anywhere up here to connect it via USB or anything like that. You do get a standard parking brake. I'm seeing these less and less on the cars lately, but works fine. 2 decent sized cup holders, and then you do get a very small center armrest with a little bit of storage space, and there you'll find your auxiliary out port and a USB port. Shifting over to the right, you do get a nice sized glove box. You'll see the manual is actually way back here. You can really push it back pretty far. I don't think you can store a lot in here, but it is nice to see that they took advantage of all of the space. So the controls for this one are entirely manual. You just get the standard controls and then the bar underneath to slide the seat forward. I guess one of my favorite things up here is the top of the dash. If you'll see, it's pretty smooth all the way across. There aren't a lot of cutouts. I like this because it's probably easy to clean, and it does look pretty sleek. The back seat of this vehicle it's pretty small. I gotta be honest, I don't think you could get 3 full-size adults back here. But the seats are pretty comfortable, a little on the firm side. So I have the passenger seat pushed back all the way, and I still have about 3 or 4 inches of room, which is pretty nice to see. There's not a whole lot back here as far as amenities go. If you look at the center armrest for the front seat, you'll see that there are no vents back here or any kind of power ports of any kind. Really, all your passengers are getting are door locks and window controls. But on this one, let me see. I gotta open the door, but looks like the previous renter had a dog. This is probably a dog collar, right? Anyway, I'll put it back where I found it. In my experience, Nissan is not great about their child seat anchors. These are pretty far back. I don't even know if I can show them to you. I like it when the child seat anchors come out a little bit further, so you could actually have access to them without having to force your hand in there. It makes installing and uninstalling car seats really difficult when they're set up like this. So there is a center armrest, but there's no tab to pull it down. This is kind of a pain in the butt. All right. Feels kind of hollow, not real solid, but you do get 2 drink holders, and it is nice that it's a little bit off the ground. Some of the sedans I've been driving lately, this center armrest folds down all the way to the seat, so you're not really getting a lot of space to stick your arm up there. And the back seats do fold down. You just have to pull up on these little pins to release the seat. And obviously there is a trunk, though it's nothing special. There's a decent amount of storage room back here, and as I mentioned before, you can fold down those back seats so that you can get some larger items into the vehicle. So I drove this car for about 2 days. I put about 150 miles on it, and I like to end my videos with a rating, 0 to 5 stars, just to give you sort of a comparison as to other vehicles that I've driven. But I'm having a lot of trouble with the Sentra because of the price. This is not a super expensive sedan. It retails for about $19,000, and the SV is just one step up from the base model. And I think you need to take that into consideration when you're thinking about this car. Because for $19,000, you do get a car that handles pretty well, accelerates decently, and has some nice features. So, after 2 days and 150 miles, I'm going to give this car 3 stars. Look, it's a good car, but I'm a little disappointed every time I have to rent this one. If there's another car on the lot, I'm definitely going to ask for that instead. But that's my opinion. If you disagree with me, please leave me a comment and tell me why I'm wrong. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I rent my 56th rental car.
Thank you for